Hi everyone. Today we'll see that how to create the REST APIs through Node.js through MongoDB. Right? So let us see what all softwares we need for this. So first of all, you should have the Node.js because that is the main package manager through which we will install our dependencies. So first install this, so you can go to the Node.js official site and then you can download your software as per your operating system. So like if you have the Windows installer, then you can download as per your operating 32-bit or 64-bit. Now secondly, we need to download the MongoDB. So uh, again, as per your operating system, you can download the MongoDB database. Third, we should download the Git Bash. So again, it's very good command editor, and that is also good for the Git commands as well. So let's say if we have any GitHub account, then we can directly sync to the Git account. So download this one as well, and then at last we need to download the Visual Studio code editor. So the benefit of this is that we will be using the TypeScript language. That is again the Microsoft language Visual Studio Code. So in Visual Studio Code, it automatically compiles the JavaScript language, right? That TypeScript. So that is why we will be using this editor. Okay, so that was all about the softwares, and now we'll see one by one that how to do that. Okay, and once you download the MongoDB, then please take care that first you need to create the data folder in C. So that is basically a requirement of MongoDB database. So first create the data folder, then in data folder just create the blank folders of DB and logs. That's it, right? As well as if you want to see more about these softwares, then you can see my previous videos where I have explained how to download on how to set up the MongoDB and Git Bash or Node.js or Visual Studio Code. Okay, so let's start code that how we go through it. Okay, so go to your site where you want to make the program. So let's say I want to create here, and let's create a new folder. So let's create REST APIs. REST API. Go inside it, then create a folder model. So model folder is required where we will write our APIs, our schema APIs, that what is the schemas of our tables, right? So later you will know about it, and also create the app.js. So again, that is required because that will be our main file where we will write that how to go into the code. Yes. So just create this one is folder, and then second is app.js. Okay, now go here and in REST API right click on this one and open the Git Bash here. So once you open the Git Bash, then we need to install the Express. So Express is basically a TypeScript framework, you can say, that we'll use because we will be using the TypeScript, right? So for that, Express supports TypeScript, so we need to download the Express framework. So you can install it by npm install, then globally we can install this. So go Express. Okay, so now it has installed all the dependencies of Express. Now start with it. So write npm init. So we are initializing our project. Okay, so now it will ask some informations. So just enter this. So name REST API, fine. Now version 1.0, yeah, that is fine. Now description you can write like REST API creation. Okay, now entry point app.js. So that will be your entry point when you will hit any API. So that will first go to the app.js. So yes, that is fine for us. Now test command. So okay, no need to give that. Now git repository, then again if you don't have right now, then leave this one. Now keywords, okay, again you can say REST API. Author, again if you want to give, then give, else leave that. Then license ISC, yes. Okay, so now it has created. So what it does basically, it creates the package.json, and it will insert these information into this one. So where name is REST API, version is this one, description is this one, main file is app.js, script is, because we haven't given any tests, so now keyword is REST API, author is no author, and license is this. So it asks that if this is okay, then click on, then write yes, exit from here, and if you go to the REST API folder, then it will create a package.json, right? So we'll open this folder into the Visual Studio Code. So it's say open with code. So now if you will see this folder, so this has been logged into this, and so this is our app.js, which is blank as of now, and this is package.json. So whatever values we have entered, so that has been set here. Now we need to set some dependencies here, so that we can use the MongoDB Express, right? So for this, what you do, just create the dependencies parameter here. So let's say dependencies and create this one. So first you want to have the dependencies of Express. So we will use the all values of Express. So just put it as Express. Then we will be using the body parser. So give it as again star. We will be using the whole. Then write the Mongos. Alright. So that's it. So that we have saved dependencies, Express, body parser, and Mongos. Now we want to install these dependencies because they are not installed yet, right? So what we'll do, we'll go here in REST, because we are in REST API, and write npm install. So basically when you do npm install, so it reads from the package.json and it find out that what dependencies you have, then it installs those dependencies. So now it has installed all the dependencies, and you can see here that all related to the Express. These are the Express, then it has the MongoDBs, this is Mongos, and this is body parser at the starting, right? Okay, so let's clear it. Okay, let's make clear. And go to your app.js. So in app.js, where we will start our program, right? So we have installed the dependencies, and now we'll include it in our program, in our JS file. So we include the Express and then require. So by require, we'll use the dependencies, and first we'll install the dependencies of Express. Then we can have the write it as each Express. Then write the Mongos, which we will use. And then write the body parser, which we will be using for the APIs, for post and put. Right. Okay, sorry. Yep. So now we are done with the requiring the file. So now let's connect with the database. So we have mongos.connect. So connect API basically connects to the database. So right here MongoDB, then we'll we'll have the MongoDB localhost, and here let's say we have the database as employer, right? And yes, and now create the create a database for this. So let's say we have ODB and then Mongo's dot connection. So using that we will create a connection to this MongoDB. Okay, now we need to write our APIs, right? So this is our app which we have, because we are using the TypeScript, so we have created the variable app, and then we'll write the API. So let's say app.get. This will be our first API, the default API, and then write function. This is be our request, this will be our response. Okay, and now here just write rest.send, and then here write the whatever you want to print. So let's say we'll print here my employee database, right? So whenever anyone hit the slash localhost 3000, then we'll print this one. Okay, and now we need to put the listen here. So where, on which port? 3000 port. So we want to listen on 3000 port, and let's say we have console.log. So in console.log we are say that database running on 3000 port. So that will put on the console log. Okay, so once we have written in app.js, then we need to run this file, right? So what we do, we type node app. So what does that means? It means that we are running app.js file through node, right? So it basically reads from the file and it checks what all it need to do. So it, from the starting, it checks, okay, I need to acquire the Express, then Mongos, then body parser, and then I need to connect through Mongo using the database. So it says MongoDB localhost employee. So it means it need to connect to the employee database, right? And then it goes to the DB Mongos, and then it checks that okay, this is a request and this is response. So when we hit localhost, then it sends my employee database, and then it listens on 3000 database, right? So that's all. So we have started. So once you hit node app, then it gives you information that database is running on 3000 port, which is a console.log which we have print here, right? So if you go here and if you hit the 3000, so click on here, and you will see that it's printing my employee database, right? So this is what we want to print, right? So if you go here in our code, my employee database, right? But let's say I want to change this. So let's say my employee database updated, and you save the program, and if you hit this again, so you will see that nothing has been changed, right? Why? Because you need to again close the server and then you need to again start, because it doesn't understand that there are some changes. So if you close the node app, then if you again start this, so it is saying okay now, and now if you hit the program, so now it will print my employee database updated, right? So whenever we are making changes, we need to always do this. First close it, then again start this. But if you want to if you don't want to do this again and again, and then we have another thing. So just close this, and then you need to install the Nodemon. So what Nodemon does, that then you need not to start again and again, right? So for that you can give npm install -g, that is globally, and that is nodemon. So that is, and then hit okay. So now it has installed the nodemon. So now what you need to do, you just need to start from nodemon. So if you click on the nodemon, then it will give you the database is running on 3000 port, and if you hit this, then yes, that is fine. And let's say if you change this, so let's say my employee database running on nodemon, and if you save this, so as you can see, as soon as you save and updated your code, so it restarted. So nodemon is restarted due to changes, and then starting node app.js. So internally it calls the node app.js whenever there are changes, right? So if you hit that again, then you can see that my employee database is running on nodemon. So that is how there is no need to run the program again and again, right? So this was our first program, that whenever you will hit this one, this is the base. So whenever you will hit this one, then this will give you print out this one. So this is my first REST API. Okay, so we have done this, but now we need to make some more REST APIs, like get or like post, or which have some databases, right? So for that, what we will do, we'll create a database. So like here, this was the database. So let's say my database name is factory. So I have factory. Okay, so to connect with the database and to work on database, I will install the Robomongo. So Robomongo is very good UI of Mongo shell. So to install this, if you go Robomongo download, so just hit the Robomongo download option, and then on the first click, go here, and then it will ask you about that which you want to go. So if you go on the download, then as per your operating system you can download this, right? So once you are downloaded this, then go to the UI of Robomongo. So that is the UI of Robomongo. Okay, so what happens that as soon as you go on your Robomongo first screen, okay, then it asks you that whether you want to connect or not. So let me show you that. Let's say exit it, right, and then click on Robomongo, right? So because when you will install the Robomongo first time, then you need to create the connection. So once you go here, then you can, then because this is our MongoD, right? This was your port where we are running our services, MongoD services, all right? So, and before using Robomongo, you need to make sure that MongoD service are running properly, right? So that you can make sure that this is my MongoD path, all right? So go till bin folder, and then put MongoD, right? So as soon as you hit the MongoD, and then you can make sure that your services are running. So if you go here, then you can see that yes, connections are open for this, right? And by default it always run on 27017 port, right? And localhost is your localhost. So first start the MongoD service. For that you need to go till bin folder of MongoDB, then hit the MongoD. So once services is running, then go here and then create new connection, and then you will say localhost and this one, then click on test. So it will check that yes, connected to localhost this one, and access to database is available, and close this, right? And then save this. Okay, but both connections are same, so you can remove this. Okay, so you can go and connect here. So like right now I have 3 databases which I used earlier. So now I want to create my database, right? So I want to create database factory. So here, once you have created the connection, then right click on this and then create database. So let's say factory and then create. So as soon as you hit that, then it will create a factory database. So if you go here, then collections are the databases, users are the users which you want, and functions, what functions you want to use. So if you go right now, then there are 0 tables, 0 collections. So right click on this and then create collections. Right, so in factory where I have different employees, so I will create one table employee and then hit that. Now this is my table. Now if you see this query, the query is db.getCollection employee find. So find, basically it find out that how many entries are there in the employee table for the db, so for the factory db, right? Because you can see new connection, localhost, and factory. So it means that right now we are in factory database and we are querying the employee collection, employee table, and right now there are 0 records. So if I want to insert the records, then go here and then insert document. So here it will give you all the details which you want to insert, right? So let's say I want to insert, the name is, let's say name. So let's say name is you can say Steve, then the age is, let's say 45, then the country, so country is, let's say America, and put it as string, right? And let's say address, so address again, let's say I have address as South or SF San Francisco, right? And again put it as a string. So this is my first entry, and then copy this so that I can insert the other entry and validate this. So it will say JSON is valid. So now okay, and click on save. So now if you hit this query again, so it will give you that it has one entry, and if you go here, then you can see, so then entries are name, so name is Steve, age is 45, country is America, address is SF. So when you insert any entry in the MongoDB, so it automatically generates the ID. So ID is always unique, that you can use further, right? So we have inserted the first element, and that is why it is giving me that it has one record. And if you again go here and let's say insert document, and let's say, so this one, so let's say second entry is John, and his age is, let's say 54, the country is, let's say UK, and the address is London, right? So if you save this, and if you again hit the query, okay, not by this, just hit this one, so it will say that right now it has 2 add rows and each row has 5 fields. So I will get the data from REST API, that is my aim. So go again the VisualStudio, and here let's say my aim is that I want to get, and so let's say my API, and the information is, let's say employer, right? So whenever I hit the API employees, so it should give me the all employee detail, right? That is my aim. And function, and let's see request, so that will be same again. Okay, and now you need to create the schemas for that, you need to create the models for that, right? So what we'll do, we have this model, so that we created, so that we can create the schema for our table or the schema for our REST API. So like we have created the employee table, right? So what we'll do, we'll create a right click on this and then create a employee dot js. So here we will write all schema about the about this table, that what all element we have. Okay, so first go to the here and then write that var mongos. So if you write mongos, then require, so here you require the mongos and this one. So if you do this, then it will require the mongos library functions, and then you can write the schema. So because you need to write the schema is basically the data type, right? So the schema for all the tables whatever you are using. Okay, so we'll say employee schema. Now let's say var employee schema equals to mongos dot schema. So that is the again notation of this, right? Okay, so here we'll write the employee schema. So first we have the name, so you can like this. So first we have name, and so name type is string, and name is required. So when required means, then it means it is necessary, because if you have the employee, then certainly there would be name, right? So we don't want to leave name as not required, so we'll say required true. Now next element we have age. So is again, so right here that type, so let's say number, and then it is required, so we say yes, it's again required. Okay, and let's copy this one, and then what another we have, then we have country. So again country we have required, yes. Then we have address. So type string, and this is required, so we say no, it's not required, right? And again country you can leave this, because country is again not required, so just leave that. Okay, so that was about the schema, that we have defined the schema of our employees, and now we'll export the variable of this. So you can say var employee, then we have module that exports, so you can say export, then mongoose, so model, because this was our model. And here, so how you want to define this, right? So I want to define this as employee, and then this is employee schema, which we have defined earlier, right? So that is how we have exports that mongoose model book schema. So it means that it is exporting as module.export and then var book. So whenever you are accessing this employee, it means you are actually getting the schema of that employees, right? Or you can write it as capital employee. Okay, so now this is we have written here. Okay, now go in your app.js, and here now we'll use our schema which we have written there. So this was the API get. So now let's say employee. So first of all we need to require the schema which we have written here. So go your JSON. Okay, let me put this like this. So as well as, so this is your connection. Now here use the so let's say employee as require, and here we'll use the dot slash, then we'll say model slash employee. So that is how we'll require our all the information related to employee. And now we'll say employee dot get employees, so we'll write a function here, get employee, and then here we'll say that in case of error give this or employees. So we are everywhere using the employee, so here again we'll use the employee site, and then we'll say like this. Okay, so here we'll write that if it gets the error then give or throw error. If it doesn't throw the error, then pass the response in JSON form, and then what employees, right? So that is how you can pass this. And then let me, okay, this is function, right? So what you're doing basically that call the function of get employee. So whatever you are getting from the employee, pass this in this one, and if there is error then throw error, else give the response in response.json employee, right? So now we'll write the employee function here. So let's write a function. So we'll say that module dot exports, so module dot export that get employee, right? So get employees equals to function, and then here we'll say callback. So callback and then limit. So limit is the thing that how much limit we want. That suppose if you want to limit your ID to 2 or 3, so we can control using this one, right? And let's say employee dot find. So find is basically query of MongoDB database, which we have seen here in Mongo, that when we use the find, so the same thing we'll do here, because now we are finding the query through code, so that is why we'll use this. So employee dot find, so callback which we are getting from this function, and then dot limit. So limit is whatever we are getting limit from above, right? So let's see that whether it's working fine or not. So go here in localhost, if you hit this one will give this to you, then API, because here you can see that in app.js we give API employee. So let me copy this one and hit this one. Okay, so right now it is giving me the blank. So let's see what's wrong here. So let's change something. So first let's rename this model to the models. So let's put it as model, and then as well as change here to models, so that it will have the required. And the another important thing is that whenever we do in mongo.model employee, so it checks in the database that is there any table which should be exist of the plural name of this one. So plural means if this is employee, so there must be a table or the collection with the name of employees. We created a table with name of employee. So first we need to change the name of this to the employees. So like I forgot to name like this. So when you create employees, so right now it is this one, so it is checking by employees. So when you are giving this, so it checks that whether the employees dot find then callback. So right now if you give nodemon, so start your program nodemon. Okay, so now it has started, and if you go here and if you hit this, so now you can see that it is printing the two entries which we have given, right? So that is how we have retrieved our first REST API. And now we'll see that how to get a single employee by employee ID, right? So basically what we want, so let's say this one. So if I give this one, then it should give me the only details of that particular employee, right? So I want to have this kind of REST API. So what I will do, I will copy this one and then put here, and then we can identify as employee and then slash and then ID, right? So by this means is that we are passing the parameter as ID, and then we are will use this one. So let's write a function, go here, then retrieve the ID. So ID basically we have request dot params, so request dot param slash ID, right? So this is what we have, what we are retrieving, and then right, so this is my value which I want, and then write employee dot get employee by ID. So if you say get employee by ID and then pass here, or you can directly pass this one as here, so request dot parameter dot ID, right? And then you can remove this one. So basically you are giving the request parameter ID. So now we'll write a function get employee by ID. So let's go in the employee.js and now write here a function that modules, right? And by this, so what it will do, it will fetch the ID from above, and then it will call back through ID, and then it will call back from this one, right? So this is get employee by ID, and then go here, right? And I think we are done. So now call the function, right? So you can see that it was successful, that it is successfully giving the value. I will suggest this one, the second one, JSON view. So install this one, add to Chrome, and now if you hit that, okay, so now you can see, so it's showing you as a pretty one. And let's say now if you want to create the data through post call, right? So that was the get call, the full get call, then get call by ID, and then you want to post. So for post you can say app dot post, and then because we don't want to change the API, so that will remain as same. So API, then employee, and then here you will say that that's it, right? So API employee, and here you will say function, then this is your request, this is your response. Okay, so first we'll get that what is my body, right? I think here is a mistake. Yep. So first get that var employee, so that we can get from request dot body, right? So that you can get basically. So what we have written here, that if you for using this one, for using the post call, and just write this line app.use body parser.json, right? So once you use this line, then we can use the post call, because we are using body parser, so that is why it is required. So now if you go here, so if you write body and this one, so then it will understand this one. Okay, so what that body, and let me write this one, that function, and okay, I think here it is missing. So here you can say the same thing, that if error, then throw error, else res.json and employee, right? So if there is no error, then you will return the JSON. Okay, and now we'll write this function in the our employee.json. So right here, the employee from above, so your employee, and here, so what you're doing basically, employee.create. So in MongoDB we have the create function. So basically when you do create and just pass the body, so this is body, and the callback, so callback is basically the same, right? So Postman is very good software for calling the get API or post API. So I think this doesn't have the Postman, so you can go here, Postman Chrome, and you can download this one, Postman Chrome Web Store, and add to Chrome. Okay, so add app. So now we have installed the Postman, so just open the Postman and then paste your API and then go to click send. So you can see it returned my values, and when you remove this one and if you again send, then it returned the two values because there were two inserted. But now we want to post, right? So go here and change the post, and then what you want to do is that just copy this one, because you will insert the third value, and then body, then row, and then text, change it to JSON because I will insert the JSON, and then remove this ID because that will automatically generated. Then let's say name is let's say Andy, or this one, then age is let's say 24, then let's say country is India, and address is Delhi. And now send your request. So once you send this request, then you can see that it has generated the ID, then it will return three values. So this is how we have used the post call, right? So as you have seen, then whenever we are calling the post call using this one and using the body, so it is responding. So our post call was successful. And now we'll write the put call, right? So put call is basically means to change, to update any value, right? So because basically in REST API we have the get value, then get by ID, then any post value, any put value, and a delete value. So we'll write the put value down. So let's say input we will have the, so let me just copy this one, and then so just write the put, and any, obviously we don't want to change this one, so we are fetching that this is my request and this is my response, right? So what it will do basically, because input call you will be getting the id, right? So I will get slash id, and now uh, including this employee also get the id. So you will say get id equals to requirement dot params, because this comes in params, and then dot id, right? So from this we have got the id, this was my employee, and this is my, okay. So rather than add, write the update, because I want to change the I want to change any employee database, right? So which employee, give the id which you want to change, and then the employee, because you will also pass the body of that one, right? And then you can also pass the this value, so that will be a blank for now, right? And then just remain as it is. Now go to your employee.js file, and then here you will write a function that update employee, right? So what we'll do, that module dot export dot update employee, right? So just put it this one id, and then write here as update, because that's all you want to update. So what all you want to update, right? So you can say, because you have name, so I will say employee dot name, right? So write all the things which is all the points which are there. So I have name, then I have age, so age, then I have country, so you can say employee dot country, then I have address, so again you have employee dot address. So these are all the values I have, right? And after that, go here in the employee, and then write the query. So the query is find by id, and find one and update. So this is my id of this, and you can say id what. So this id is basically this one, this id through which I will query, then update which I want to update, and then options, so let it remain as it is, and then callback, right? So I have given here that get this id, and then update the all the values by this one, because whatever value I want to change I will put it here. So let's go to into the post put, then body json, change it to right, and then okay, let me copy this one, because that's all I want to change, and put it here. Okay, and now don't put id, because I have already given here. So I want to change the age of Steve to 50, and America to let's say Africa, right? And then click on send. So this says that there was an error connecting to this one. So let's see what's the error here. Okay, so I got the point that these are not correct. I need to change it to colon. Okay, so again save this one, and now database running on this one. So if you go here and if you call this, okay, so now you can see that okay, so by default basically it gives you the wrong value. This is the same value which you have initially give, but basically it changed. So if you go here and if you get the call, so you can see, okay, let it remain like this, and then see. So the country has been changed to Africa, age has been changed to 50, right? So this is how we can change the value using the put call. And right at the last I need to write the function of delete. So first of all write the delete one, so export and then delete employee, right? And in function, so what all you will get, you will get the id and that's it, right? So what you will do, basically you will remove, so you can say employee dot remove, because that is my query, and then you can say id and then callback, right? So this is how I will call this one id and then it will remove. So let me call here and let's write here app dot delete, and then I will be using the same. So let's do one thing, let me put this get call here and then paste here, and just let me change this one to delete. So I will be getting the, and let's say delete employee as this one, because that might have caused. So let's write as id and then this one, right? And then again, and now I want to delete this nd one, right? So go here, then go delete, then put here this one, right? And then send. So now it is giving me that n equals to 1, that okay. So now it is saying that it has deleted the one value and okay one. So if you go and get again, you can see one value has been deleted, right? So the problem was this one, that we should not give the id direct and we should give by this one, so that it identify that which id it is, that, right? So we have covered the all APIs, get, then get by id, then put, then post, then delete, right? So I think that's it for this tutorial, guys. Thanks for watching the video and please subscribe the channel for more such videos. Thank you.